Round 8 then of this 24-hour event is taking us all the way now to the Hungaroring, where the drivers are getting out of their Formula 1 cars and being strapped into something a little bit more snug. Formula 2 now taking a little step into this 24-hour event at CSS in collaboration, of course, with Macmillan Cancer Support. It's myself, it's Joseph Black alongside me now this time for this one. We should be in for an absolute cracker. Hungaroring usually doesn't bring the best racing, but when you've got slower cars and Formula 2 cars as well, should make for a little bit more of an interesting affair.
Certainly should. It certainly should indeed. For one, the drivers will be slightly slower, so they'll have more time to think about the way that they're racing with each other. And number two, they will not be racing these cars ever. Realistically, they won't have raced these at all. So it's going to be a really good opportunity for us to see what they're like in cars that pretty much most of them have never touched before.
Yeah, absolutely as well. So let's take a quick reminder of the running events here tonight as well. And just before I actually get into that one as well, big up Gareth as well as Patrick and, of course, Ollie for their efforts over the last couple of rounds as well. Great races over at Austria and at Abu Dhabi. Now leads into this one at the Hungaroring. We are then at Saudi Arabia to round off Saturday's running events in this now our evening stint of this 24-hour event. We've, of course, got our Sunday races as well, starting from 10 past midnight. We're at the Netherlands, then at 20 past 1, the United States Circuit of the Americas. 2:30, Monaco Grand Prix. That is going to be absolutely mental thanks to your donations. More about that one in a minute. Las Vegas at 20 to 4, Japan at 10 to 5, Azerbaijan at 6 o'clock, Qatar at 10 past 7, Brazil at 20 past 8, 9:30 will bring the Spanish Grand Prix to your screens, 20 to 11 for the Italian Grand Prix at the Temple of Speed Monza, wrapping it all up at where else but Silverstone, the Great British Grand Prix at 10 to midday. So that's what we have coming up here. One thing that is for certain though is that these drivers are very keen to get going here, all collaborating with these guys that are taking part in this event. Make note, IRT and OVR are actually in the opposition teams here, so IRT over at Racing Bulls and OVR actually down at the Kick Saubers. Nonetheless though, across the entire outfit, a very, very interesting grid is starting to formulate in terms of the table here. It's been a really good run of form for the commentary team. Nice to see them climb up the standings, but it's typically been all really about Aston Martin and McLaren in the mix. But there's been some little flickers of opportunity from all the other teams around the board.
Yeah, it certainly is. There really has been opportunities for everybody to be at the top of the field, whether, of course, you're the F1 server who've barely been off of the podium, the Fromage team also barely been off the podium, but also FZR have made their trips up there, and WOEM have also had a podium in Australia, so it's very good to see that they've had the chance to do that. And the Le Hotel, of course, my team, not to be biased at all, but have taken a victory and a podium as well. So, of course, I can be slightly biased about that one, I think. And, well, I'll be representing both teams today. So it's not like that's a secret at all. But, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think, especially with the F2 cars, it's going to be a great equaliser.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Just waiting on another driver to join, and then we'll be getting going for this event as well. We are just looking as well. I'm just trying to find where the standings are. I seem to have lost them somewhere. Hopefully you'll be able to find them, Joseph. But situation at the moment is that we've got a variety of teams all sort of fighting it out at the moment. And though there are some clear distinctive teams that have clearly prepared for this event here, very much so, teams have all been in a real mixed bag, to say the least. So heading over then into what will be a very interesting Hungarian Grand Prix in the Formula 2 cars. Expectations is that it should be a little bit of a mixed bag. I think critically, of course, the F2 cars are something that the drivers, as you rightfully point out, Joseph, people are not going to be practiced in at all. So surely the expectation here is that it's going to be not necessarily chaotic, but certainly unpredictable.
Oh, it's going to be so unpredictable. It's going to be so unpredictable indeed, because not only are they going to be in unique teams they've not been a part of, they're going to be in unique cars they've not been a part of, but also these cars are legitimately equal, and they won't have any setups for them. So a lot of them will be running with equal setups, which will be fascinating to keep an eye out on. But yeah, the standings at the moment, the F1 server at the top with 206 points. This is before the round at Abu Dhabi. Fromage find themselves in second place, AERT in third, and Le Hotel, who find themselves in fourth place. But I believe they're going to move past AERT up into the top three. And well, it's been fascinating to see, genuinely. And this is from a non-biased perspective. Of course, I mentioned that I was part of Le Hotel before, but genuinely, as a non-biased perspective, the likes of FST, the likes of SZR, you'd expect to be further up there, but it's really nice to see a team that is basically cobbled together with random drivers from various different teams. It's good to be able to see them contending.
Yeah, I think they're all in a sort of nice competition, aren't they, as well? At Macmillan Cancer Support, there's obviously a little bit more of a relaxed atmosphere as well, which is probably half of the reason why you've got the faster teams that would usually take a race seriously not take it quite as seriously, but then of course the teams that have just about been cobbled together of course have approached this with that lackluster approach and just want to have a bit of fun as well. So it's resulted in actually quite a spicy competition that started to brew, and it's all of course in collaboration with our guys at Macmillan Cancer Support as well. There's that QR code up in that top right hand corner. Give that a scan and donate what you can for us and for Macmillan Cancer Support, because we've done what we can to show you that we really care about theirs as well. Joseph Black absolutely demonstrating the QR code to perfection on that one as well. We are still waiting on just a driver to connect into the session, and then we'll be getting going in just a few short moments time. But the Hungaroring Formula 2 cars, what is the expectation then for this one here? One shot qualifying and just the one feature race, the sprint race for this event here, Joseph. So expectations said it should be unpredictable. What other things should we expect for this one?
The expectation should be no expectation, I think. It's going to be really interesting to see. Personally, I think we're going to see the content team, whoever's racing for them, quite high up, because they're used to doing wacky stuff on this game. A lot of them will be used to doing maybe league races, maybe competitive esports, but a lot of them, especially the likes of, let's say, for example, Corey, who will have mucked about on the game before quite a lot. I'd imagine that he might have done quite a bit of random racing, maybe just happened to dip into an F2 car. And any experience is good experience. So expect those who you might not expect to be at the top, those who don't take the games quite so seriously, to find themselves in a decent position, at least at the end of qualifying.
Yeah, that's the critical thing, isn't it? Making sure that the drivers are sort of a bit more in the comfortable side of things as well, and they've comfortably sat in the lobby at the moment as we're just waiting on that one final driver to get into the session. So while we're waiting on them, actually, we'll have a quick reminder as well of the upcoming races after this event, because of course heading off after the Hungaroring, we do take a trip over to Saudi Arabia, and then after our mid sort of session break, if you will, we head over to Zandvoort. Now Corey will be leading that one, I believe, with good old Joseph D'Ambrosio for Zandvoort, and I think Joseph's taken a little bit of a run actually throughout the night, so good luck to him on that one. Circuit of the Americas at 1:20, Monaco at 2:30. Monaco, that's going to be a bit of a mental one now, isn't it?
Oh, it really will. It really will, mainly because there's no damage, there's no rules involved at Monaco, so it's going to be very interesting to keep an eye out on that one, especially because, as you can see in this lobby that we've got for ourselves, well, Monaco Merchant is in right now. The FST driver Jack Humphreys, who dubs himself as the Monaco Merchant, but on their hotel there is also somebody who also dubs himself as the Monaco Merchant. So it'll be really fascinating to see the two who have made Monaco kind of their personality coming to clash.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as well, with the rules all completely switched off, of course, the opportunity for the drivers to explore different routes, i.e. Turn 1 offers a completely different opportunity with different racing lines, because of course now if you can cut that corner completely, what alternative lines can you take to try and maximise your lap time around Monaco, especially considering as well it's a nighttime race, it's dark, it's also going to be raining, I believe, as well, which will make it for even more of a chaotic affair. So really exciting stuff, to say the least, on that one. Las Vegas always brings its interesting races as well at 20:04. 10:05 will be the Japanese Grand Prix. For 6 o'clock at Azerbaijan, that one I'm going to be keeping a firm eye on as well. Qatar, Brazil, Spain, Italy, Temple of Speed. I think those, what a selection of races right at the end, might I say. Brazil, Spain, Italy, Great Britain. 4 very different circuits, all coming together with different traits, while these drivers are going to be extremely tired.
Yeah, they certainly are. There's going to be a lot of fatigue coming in, especially throughout the night, which might bring up some unpredictable results as well. We are ready to get going in the lobby for our race around Hungary. We're going to have, as you say, one-shot qualifying and then 19 laps to go. And I think the further on we go into the night, the more unpredictable the results become, because those drivers you'd expect to be at the top might be more fatigued because they've done quite a few races. And so we'll be seeing the grid sort of mixed up. And I'm hoping that in this one qualifying session, we'll be seeing that exactly just that.
Yes, exactly that one as well. So we're going to be heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix first qualifying session then before we get into our main race, of course. And here it is bone dry on circuit, actually bright sunshine for these Formula 2 cars as well. And we'll pick a random driver for this one. And actually, if you don't mind, Mr. Black, I'm actually going to allow you to do a little bit of a tour around the Hungaroring. It's been a while since I've been here. And to be honest with you, I need a little bit of revision, if you don't mind. So, situation report then, Formula 2 cars, it'll be a slower lap, but which team is going to be the one that adapts the most? That is the main question on my lips. Here we go then, with a random driver. Who are we going to pick? Let's pick Corey Brooks himself, as he now heads his way towards turn 1. Mr. Black, take it away.
Yeah, funnily enough, I'm going to the Hungaroring later this year, so this is good revision for me as you head braking down into the first corner and you want to turn in and clip the apex on the inside line, slightly different in these Formula 2 cars because you don't quite know what to expect. But now, down through towards turn number 2, Corey's going to wash a little bit wide. That's fine because then he can take the apex curb on the exit, but I think you want to stay tight and then you can maximise your exit out of turn number 4 and down towards the next braking zone. In fact, that was turn number 3. This is turn number 4, flying through. And as Corey Brooks invalidated his lap, he's gone very wide off the road. And in fact, he has invalidated his lap. So I'm going to swap over to Joe Murphy, who's in the lead of the pack at the moment. And, well, you're probably the easiest person to find on the minimap because, of course, he is in that first place. And, well, it's currently swapping between Solar Cindy, Melvin and Angelo D'Ortenzio for 3rd, 4th and 5th. But we'll keep on with Joe Murphy as we head through the second sector and through towards turn number 10. Mango's out of the session, so that's 2 people at the back row of the field. Joe Murphy with a 1:04.40 as he heads through turn number 11. Again, it's all about using those curbs here, but you really don't want to touch them as you head into turn 13. The reason for that is because that could wash you out wide on the exit, and especially if you're fighting, then it could cost you a lot of time. Turn 14 as well, you don't want to take the curbing on the inside because there is a wall there. You want to take the curbing on the exit, and to the line Joe Murphy goes. He will take pole position. Angelo D'Ortenzio alongside him on the front row.
A big apology to Corey Brooks, clearly decided to give him the commentator's curse on that one, but 24.508 puts him on pole position. What a pleasure it's also to see the Joe Murphy name right back in a commentary booth that I am in, because back in the W1 Legacy Division days, he was always a pleasure to see racing in that one. But he leads from the front, does Joe Murphy, from Angelo D'Ortenzio as well. Does a decent job to get up to P2. Gibbo's there in P3. Well done to Cindy as well, up to P4. Melvin in P5. You got Maxter, and then you've got the Monaco Merchant himself in P7 from Rob, Newt and Jeremy rounding out the top 10. You've got Justy, you've got the A-Team, you've got Temex, you've got Newton, Max, Nick, Slayer, Brooks, Penguin and Gamer for the 20 drivers taking part. We've lost 5 from qualifying. 3 did not complete their laps. 2 were disqualified for the race ahead of us. So pre-race indications suggesting here, Joseph, that, well, situation report. We've seen it again, about 4 or 5 drivers not able to qualify very well. Now we're going into the main race, and it's a short race here as well, being on Formula 2, so not much time in order to try and get those positions back.
No, certainly not. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of drivers sending it into the first couple of corners. And, well, just because they won't understand the cars yet. They won't hold back. They will send it because they know it's not quite like a league race. It's slightly different. We'll be wanting the action, and we will be getting the action out there on the circuit. It's very exciting to be seeing here today. And, well, have we got any early predictions for this race? Of course, we've got Joe Murphy and Angelo D'Ortenzio, the 2 drivers I'd imagine we expected on the front row. But is there anybody else you'd say could throw themselves into the mix?
I think Joe Murphy's going to be the one that I'm going to be putting all my eggs in that basket, to be honest with you, because it's been a while since I've seen him, but I know how epically quick he is and how consistent he is if he's not under any kind of pressure. But with you know, the pressure from the second place man, he might be under significant pressure, because we're about to get going for this race here in Hungaroring with these Formula 2 cars. No more waiting. Let's go racing then here at the Hungaroring, and Angelo D'Ortenzio is trying his hardest here to put some pressure on Joe Murphy, but initially out the blocks looks like a great getaway from Joe Murphy. Solar Cindy also getting in the mix a little bit as well in that midfield. We've got people getting into a bit of a collision now towards the back. It looks like we've lost Nick. I think it is the IRT man has gone for a bit of a spin. The 3 Red Bull drivers as well Red Bull livery drivers rather, getting it all into all in fair warn around there as well, if all honest with you. The A-team also trying to get in there as well, side by side there with Rob, as gets that move done, does Newt, as he managed to get up to P8, does the FZR man, as Rob also gets past it. The A-team, it looks like the A-team struggling hand over fist, losing a bucket position. Corey Brooks now up to P11 as well. Great start from the man disqualified early in qualifying.
Yeah, certainly is a great start for Corey Brooks. He's managed to make his way all the way up into 11th place, and it's not like he's got a tyre offset because he started on the medium compounded tyres, especially like all the other drivers on the field apart from Solar Cindy and Trent Newton, who both started on a set of the softs. But he's made a great start. The A-team has basically been a magnet for contact in the early portion of this race. It's not really, I don't think any of them have been down to him. I think all of them have just been drivers not really being fully aware on this first lap of when they should be turning in slightly too early into the corners, and then just managing to hit him. So it's unfortunate for the A-team that he's dropped down the order, and in fact he had a great start, but he's dropped back down to where he started. We're going to end the first lap with Joe Murphy in the lead, Angelo Hortensio in second place, and Solar Cindy looking to threaten whilst those tyres stay alive. Yeah,
Aaron Gibbo having a really horrible start, down 4 positions already in this race, down to P7, allowing Cindy, Melwin, Maxter and the Monaco merchant himself an opportunity to gain that position up. I tell you what though, Cindy is all over the back of Angelo Hortensio at the moment, and that is offering potentially a little bit of a look over the shoulder maybe for the man in P2 at the moment, because well, Solar Cindy is definitely putting it more pressure on the second place man, and the second place man is currently on Joe Murphy, and Ventari's Melwin as well, looking relatively comfortable at the moment with P4, not able to get too close to the front three, but an opportunity with that little bit of clean air just to maintain the status quo. The only problem is he's about to fall out of the DRS territory, which will be open at the end of the third lap.
Yes, and the DRS is all what you want here today. In Hungary, you only want to be able to stay within the DRS the whole time, because that can massively benefit you down the main straight. That's really the only way you're going to make a move here, unless there's a mistake from a driver ahead, as we will be wont to see later on in this race. Temex makes his way through on Piney Penguin up into 14th place. Piney Penguin hoping for a top 10 as he slightly goes off of the circuit in the background. And well, Cooperfan123 in the chat says Piney top 10 and he'll join his esports team. Whoa. Well, at the moment, Piney Penguin dropping down another position, going very wide out of the exit of the corner. Trent Newton around the outside.
Yeah, Trent Newton getting a horrible tank slapper. Weirdly, made it work an absolute treat against the likes of Piney Penguin, who is now down to P16 in this race. Up 3 positions, started in P19, but lost a couple in as many corners, unfortunately, for the man now down in P16. Keeping an eye out back up towards the front here. The two Tridents, 3rd and 5th. Drivers at Invicta also doing relatively strong as well, with 1st and a 4th. MP currently 2nd and 8th. So decent efforts so far in terms of the teams, but of course remember in this particular championship it's 1 car per constructor. So make note that yes, they may need to work together in terms of any pit stops that might need to be done, but for now it's all about racing hard. Worth making note, by the way, Solar Cindy electing to start on the soft tyre here, while everyone else other than Trent starting on the medium. So inverse strategy choice for one of the Tridents, so that will avoid any kind of issue when it comes to the strategy. But Solar Cindy is going to find those soft tyres are going to fall off relatively quickly, I think, Joseph.
Yes, I think so. Those soft compound tyres don't last long on the Formula 1 cars, and I don't think they're going to last anywhere near long on this on the Formula 2 cars. They are a little bit thinner, those tyres, compared to their Formula 1 counterparts. I know that it's going to be a little bit less load going through the tyres, but all the same, I think they're going to wear out relatively quickly, and then they'll be able to come into the pit lane. We'll see when Solar Cindy and Trent Newton decide to make that switch, but I believe that they will be swapping at some point soon, and all the drivers on the medium tyres already will be making the switch to the softs. Ooh. Is the F1F driver going to make his way past Melwin? Yes, he is, and Melwin just desperately tried to defend it. In the end, he tried to defend it, and then just as desperately tried to back out of it.
Yeah, unfortunately for Melwin, I think he didn't see Max to come in at the last second, so I think caught napping is the best words here in the Fornaroli branded Ventauri, as we're just keeping an eye out on Gibbo here. Lost many positions at the start of this race. Lost 3 now overall. He was starting up in P3, but now down to P6. He'll want to try and bounce back if he can, and what a good opportunity to do so then. A man who's a little bit on the vulnerable side at the moment here in Melwin. Lost 1 position, might be looking at losing another one here if this Red Bull driver can get any kind of pressure on the back of that Invicta.
Yes, all the pressure is what he's going to try and apply at the moment. Aaron Gibbo's dropped places from where he started, but he's going to hope to build himself back up. There's questions as to whether there's going to be rain towards the end of this race. I will find that information out for you, and I will get back to you.
Yeah, I must admit I was thinking that as well as I was talking earlier. Those clouds are starting to look a little bit precarious, and Hungary, a bit like Austria, is one of those races where when it starts raining, it does tend to pour quite quickly. Yellow flags waved at the moment for a slow car in the third sector. In fact, it's a stopped car. It's Nick who's gone for a bit of a weird situation there, I think, in Miata's ART, and it looks like he's got significant front wing damage, I think, as well. He has. He's missing an end plate, so he might be in the pit lane, and it's not just an end plate, it's an entire set of flaps on the front, on the top part, rather, of the front wing. So he's in the pits now, getting off of these medium tyres and move over to a soft, but I think that means he's committing to the two-stop here.
Yes, I certainly think it is. And just as a response to that question, the answer is in about 10 laps time. 15 minutes is what it says on my radar, that it will be intermediate conditions at the very minimum. Max Ring fighting away with the A-team, and he's managed to make the move pretty quickly. I think that's going to cost those who started on the soft compound tyres pretty much the race, because, well, it will be right late on in the stint, so it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to stretch it. So, in fact, I think the soft compound tyres to the mediums might be the right idea, or the mediums to the softs, but I think the mediums just give you that little bit more working room to go with. But intermediate tyres look to be coming in about 10 laps time.
I'd like to offer a different opinion on this one, just to play devil's advocate. If the rain does fall around about lap 14, lap 15, will the medium tyres actually get to that level? Because if they don't, then those that started on the softs actually might have actually played not a bad little strategy here, because they will switch over to a medium, which will certainly get to the end if the rain doesn't fall fast enough. So Cindy now in to get off of these soft tyres. However, if those medium tyres, you know, go to 14 or so laps, and then the rain isn't hard enough to be able to get onto an intermediate, then they've actually missed their pit stop window entirely. So I want to argue maybe, and I might be, you know, I don't know, making a stretch here, maybe Solar Cindy's not quite out of this race yet.
Well, just having a look at some of the drivers' telemetry information, which thankfully, graciously, they have handed to us just to give us the information on the tyre wear. It looks as though the medium tyres are going to last pretty easily to that point. I'm not going to say which driver I'm watching on with, because I'm not going to give anyone a strategic advantage, not that it matters anyway, but one of the drivers that is racing around at the moment and is one of the more notable drivers in this field has 15% tyre wear on their medium compounder tyres. And so that means that if it is in about 10 laps time, or 9 laps as it is now, then it'll look like it's going to be about 45% wear by the time they make it to that stint. So I think the soft compound tyre runners, after all of that, I mean, I tried to weigh it up on both sides, but I think everything just stacks against them. But also, we don't know how the medium compound tyres operate when they're worn.
And I think the rain's falling now already, you know. The rain is now falling on the circuit here, as I'm just on board with Angelo I'll get there in the end, D'Ortenzio. And looking at this one here, oh, a little bit of DRS chicken, I think, being played here between the front runners here, between Joe Murphy and Angelo D'Ortenzio going through there, and it looked very, very precarious. Joe Murphy's managed to get, stayed in front, but of course the MP man has got the DRS as it collides, and he's completely mistimed that one. Has the man in P2, he's trying to go down that inside, but it's getting a little bit precarious between the pair of them, I must admit. Come on, guys, it's a charity event, don't get too aggressive as they continue here. You can see him turning right, trying to get that tyre hook in, forcing him here as they continue through here. Rain is starting to fall on circuit now. That's not going to help the case either. Really forced out to the grass. Well held from Angelo D'Ortenzio there in the end. But Joe Murphy really chucking all of those elbows out. But in doing so and playing the DRS chicken, they've invited Melvin, Maxter and Aaron Gibbo right back into the fight.
Yeah, I really thought that's what they were going to do with that one. And Melvin would have just been watching and waiting for that gap to come down. In fact, it did. But what else do you expect other than a great save from a Ferrari development driver in Angelo D'Ortenzio? And you'd imagine when he's old enough, he will be on that F1 esports grid. So it'll be great to see Angelo D'Ortenzio racing around here. And it's a pleasure always to commentate on somebody along that caliber. I believe the last 24-hour event, or the first 24-hour event I did even, I ended up commentating over Kian Goedendorp, who is, of course, involved with the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls esports team. But at the moment, we're about to head on to what will be lap number 8, and Joe Murphy and Angelo D'Ortenzio already back out of the DRS of Melvin. You're absolutely right, it is raining now, but it's not set to be that bad until later on in the race. And you know what these drivers are like with avoiding intermediate tyres, and especially wet tyres, they avoid it like the plague.
Right, Rob, curiously, is in the pits to get off of the medium tyre, so unless this is damage, that might be a switch over to an into. We'll keep an eye on that one. Ooh, Joe Murphy doesn't want to commit. That's overtake. He'll let Angelo D'Ortenzio get in there. Gets a horrible exit, though, does Joe Murphy, so that allows D'Ortenzio to get the move done, and now back up to P1 here, but you can clearly see no love lost at all between these two drivers. Clearly, a little bit of a side-eye scenario happening between the pair of these, a bit aggressive in an event that's meant to be for charity, so let's keep it cool, boys. While they're doing that, they're just started to pull away once again from Melwyn, who's up to P3, while he's actually managed to get up to P3, racing with Maxter and Aaron Gibbo now up to P5. The Monaco Merchant just tucking in behind, by the way, in P6, is just witnessing this, waiting for something to happen, because he'll be happy to swallow up positions that are lost from anyone that just drives with, what's the right word for it, perhaps a little bit too much ego.
Yes, it's very potentially, but we're not going to cast any aspersions over that. I'm certainly not going to cast any aspersions on that. The rain is gradually increasing out there on the circuits in terms of the percentages that we have above our heads. It's going to be 36% at the moment. The reason I talked about it being in 10 minutes' time is because it's going to be at about 55% in probably about lap 13, 14 now. It's come slightly earlier than the radar was predicting, so that's going to be very, very interesting, and I do think the medium tyres are going to take it that long. And at the moment, I mean, Solar Cindy, as you say, he came into the pit lane, came back out, and is on a set of the medium tyres in the lower mid-pack. So whilst he might not be fighting up to where he potentially belongs, he is on that tyre. Joe Murphy goes to defend from Angelo D'Ortenzio. D'Ortenzio is going to squeeze him very, very wide. They're just having a bit of fun at the very top of the field. At least, I think that at least one of them is thinking that this is a little bit of fun. But it is very, very dicey between the two. But Robbie, keep an eye on him. He's on wets. Yeah,
certainly moving over to the wets is Robbie. Remember, of course, in Formula 2, there's no intermediate tyre, so you've got to go from a dry straight to a full wet tyre. So that makes that window for between, using the dry and the wet, a little bit more narrower, because, of course, if the rain starts to fall on what you might think is an intermediate tyre, the wets might not be the choice tyre in this scenario in Formula 2. Keep an eye on Joe Murphy then as he keeps up with this battle. They do seem to be having fun, but it is particularly aggressive fun at the moment between Angelo D'Ortenzio and Joe Murphy. Sector 3 yellow flags wave for IRT Nick again, who is really struggling out there at the moment. Chucking the car through the right-hander. Joe Murphy doing the best that he can to stay within touching distance, as Corey Brooks gets a time penalty up and down in P12 at the moment with a 3-second penalty. That is not the greatest situation. We've still got one person who started on the soft tyre who's still out there at the moment, by the way. Trent Newton, P13, happy to stay out on the Inter at the moment. Going back on board Joe Murphy. He'll get the DRS then going into turn number 1. Will there be any pressure at all on Angelo D'Ortenzio as they head their way towards turn 1, straight to that inside line then from the man in P1. He doesn't want to give any opportunity on that inside line. He's determined to do so. Joe Murphy getting very, very close, but no cigar at the moment. Sector 1 yellow flags waved again for a slowing IRT Nick, but it shouldn't affect this race here. Joe Murphy still getting close, but again, Angelo D'Ortenzio, to be fair, putting his car in the right place at the right time at the moment.
He certainly is, and just an update on Trent Newton's tyres. They are not as worn as you would imagine they are. So he's doing a very good job at the moment to hold on to them, but I'd imagine they're going to be screaming out within the next couple of laps. But it's not like they're reaching puncture territory at all. IRT Nick having problems once again. He's spun around clearly. Not suited to these Formula 2 cars. Joe Murphy right on the back of Angelo D'Ortenzio at the moment. That'll be for the first couple of positions, and Trent Newton not losing too much time. I think he's about to make it to the wet compound tyre stint, and that's because the A-Team and Piney Penguin both deciding to dive in and make that switch to the blue wall tyre.
Yeah, they think the wet tyre is the right call at the moment here. What's your thought, folks? Let us know on Twitch and on YouTube, wherever you're watching here tonight. Thank you for all of your support here. If you haven't donated already, there is your QR code up in the top right. Get your phone out, take a photo, take whatever you need to do with the phone app in order to get that scanned, and then donate if you can. For the guys at Macmillan Cancer Support, thank you for everyone's support for the £1,586 that we've made so far, as we have a driver spun out by the looks of things, and we're trying to figure out who it is that's gone for a spin somewhere. I think that was Rob on the wet tyre, who is finding that these tyres are not particularly good at the moment.
Yeah, not at the moment. They very much are not the right tyres to be on at the moment. Well, as we've got fighting into the first corner, Angelo D'Ortenzio through on Joe Murphy, Melwin through on Aaron Gibbo, and Monaco Merchant fighting with Maxter. Maxter looks like he's gone very far off the circuit. A bit of a slippery one for the man now currently in 6th place. Melwin and Aaron Gibbo continue their fight on, and Gibbo's going to be on the outside line. Is he going to be able to make his way through? The answer is no, because Melwin just kept on the racing lines. Aaron Gibbo not allowed as much space as he would have needed to make that move off. Robbie's gone around on those wet compound tyres at the moment. They are not going to be very good condition. They're also going to be very, very hot. Max Ring and Corey Brooks battle of the commentators for 10th place, as Max Ring on the inside line trying to make his way through on Corey, and in the end has managed to make the move. Temex also involved in it, and Max Ring might get up a double salvo if he can get to the outside line far enough as he heads up to the next braking zone, and he's going to do a switchback. Temex is going to run himself wide. Max Ring's going to run himself on the circuit. Got a little bit too excited, and so dropped down. Temex holds 9th. Corey Brooks back up to 10th.
Yeah, really, really good stuff then from Corey Brooks, who's now taking the commentary team's dizzying heights of top 10 finishes up now, I believe up to 4 if he finishes the way he is at the moment. So it's looking really good for the commentators team. Oh, we've got DRS chicken happening again. Joe Murphy has been given the position up, and actually Angelo D'Ortenzio has dived into the pit lane, curiously. So into the pits he will now go. Raindrops certainly falling in the pit lane, looking a little bit wet, and there's a 10-second penalty for Angelo D'Ortenzio. That's the uncharacteristic mistake from a man who was looking really strong in this one, but I think the wetness of the pit lane entry has caught the number 5 MP off guard, and he's now on a wet tyre, but with a 10-second penalty, his race might be done and dusted.
Yes, his race may well be done and dusted. That's very unfortunate for Angelo D'Ortenzio, who had that pace, and it almost hands Joe Murphy it. If he doesn't lose too much time on this lap, we can keep an eye on the gaps between all of the drivers as Joe Murphy continues on in this race. I think he's going to lose time here, Joe Murphy, because he's not going to be on the wets. But how much time is he going to lose? That's going to be the crucial point, and how much time can he extract out of this lap? We shall wait and see. Angelo D'Ortenzio back out of the pit lane in 7th place. He was behind Trent Newton briefly, but managed to make his way back ahead. Is now up into 7th place, of course, and then Temex, Corey Brooks and Anand Gamer both into the pit lane, and or all of them even into the pit lane, and will be making the switch onto the set of the wet compound tyres, which means that over half the grid is onto it, and now we are going to have the other half making the switch. Yeah, Rob, curiously as well, I've got a little bit of a food for thought for you here. Rob has gone off of the wets. He's gone back onto dries. He doesn't think that this track is actually suitable enough for wets here. So he's moved over to a soft tyre, and then he's put it in a wall, and that might have been the out of his race. But no, he's not out of this race, but he's certainly going to have a massive chunk of his front wing completely gone. And in fact, he's got away with it. I think he's got away with it. Let me just have a look now as he goes through the corner. He has managed, if he's got away with that one, that is a miracle, to say the least. Either way, the Red Bull liveried Campos was told, you know what, we're going to just pit you again to get you off of the wet tyres, because the dry tyres are clearly the better tyre to be on. But he's now navigating what seems to be a growing lake at the moment out on the circuit. Monaco Merchant is in, Joe Murphy is in, Aaron Gabo in, as well as Jeremy as well. Robbie has actually left the session. I think that's more out of pure frustration, if I'm perfectly honest with you, other than a disconnection. We'll see though. Newt staying out though on that on the medium tyre rather. Joe Murphy will lead the way. Where is Angelo D'Ortenzio in all of this one? Now leaving down towards turn number 1, and I tell you what, Joe Murphy's got a really good undercut on this one here, but it looks like to me he's gained what? That's about 0.4 of a second, so we were certainly at that crossover period. You've seen something. Trent Newton is struggling on those soft compound tyres now. He very much is. And, well, there was side by side just ahead of him into the first corner, and Trent had the biggest slide that he could have possibly had, but managed to save it in fairness to him, and is just trying to continue on, of course, with drivers unlapping themselves. I believe that to be IRT Nick, just unlapping himself there. So Trent Newton, I think, needs to come into the pit lane sometime soon. Right, food for thought for you here, and I'm not suggesting you do this. I reckon he probably will pit at the end of this lap, but with a gap of 19 seconds, there are 6 laps to go. The degradation of the circuit quality is actually relatively slow at the moment. Could he potentially take those mediums to the end of this race? No, because he would need to make a pit stop anyway, if I'm not mistaken, right? Couldn't tell you. Don't know the rules. But he's pitting anyway, so ignore everything I said. He's pitting anyway. well. I'll find out after the race to see if that's the actual rule. But I mean, it makes sense for him to pit because the rain, whilst it doesn't seem that bad right now, is going to get bad. I don't know how bad it's going to be by the end of the race, but my projections are saying 86% rain. But at the moment, it's saying 68, and it doesn't actually look too bad out there.
Yeah, not too bad at all at the moment, as the conditions don't look like they're deteriorating too quickly despite the rain falling on circuit. You can see the droplets on the circuit here as the Monaco Merchant is trying to make a move here on Melwin. The Ventauri, Virtuosi trying to get in the mix there, as well as Invicta, sorry, trying to get in the mix here as he now heads his way down towards the next corner. Nice little switch to the inside, but it looks like it's going to be a bit precarious between the pair of them. The gap may or may not have been there. I'll leave that to your thoughts and feelings on that one, folks. But Monaco Merchant stays then in P5, Melwin holding on to P4. While this is happening, by the way, Cindy is staying out on those medium tyres.
Yes, he certainly is. He's staying out on those mediums as I think there's contact between Angelo D'Ortenzio and somebody else potentially. There was certainly a big kick of something for the MP man, who's going to drop now behind Aaron Gibbo, who takes the lead of this race. But both at the top have penalties. It's 10 for Aaron Gibbo, it's 13 for Angelo D'Ortenzio, so they're going to be driving like nothing is happening for them. And in fact, I think Angelo D'Ortenzio is having a bit of fun with Joe Murphy here. He's closing him up as much as possible to try to give Aaron Gibbo the win, I think, as Angelo D'Ortenzio goes to the inside. Joe Murphy tries to have a look, and well, you've seen something this time.
Yeah, just keep an eye on that one. That's very much the definition of a push to pass. Wow, wow, wow. These are getting a little bit feisty, folks, as there goes Melwin getting the cut on the pair of them here. Yeah, having lots of fun, I think, at the moment, are the two of them. But either way, Angelo D'Ortenzio and Joe Murphy, clearly no love lost between the pair of them. Do you remember Angelo D'Ortenzio has a 10-second penalty? That is for what happened in the pit lane entry. So Joe Murphy still will have a clear cut on this one, as Melwin and the Monaco Merchant right back fighting once again, going through into turn number 1. Melwin, whoa, wow, crikey, keeps on in the very close battle through turn 1 here. The conditions are best described as nominal between the wets and the dry. Certainly a wet tyre compound, but it's not particularly clean in terms of a wet tyre compound at the moment, as Angelo D'Ortenzio is now all over the back of Melwin, wants to try and get this one done as quickly as he possibly can. 4 laps to go, 15 of 19.
Yes, and Angelina Jolenzio is going to want to make this move as soon as he can on Melwin, as I think Newton Maxter swapped in the background, but lots of penalties out there in the field. Monaco Merchant might be on for a victory here because of Angelo D'Ortenzio defensive work, which continues. Joe Murphy to the inside. D'Ortenzio is going to try and get the exit. He cuts the corner to stay ahead, and D'Ortenzio holds position, and they will keep that fight onwards. Still more bumping. Solar Cindy's going to get involved in the background and will want to try and involve himself in the battle. He's going to be to the inside of Joe Murphy. Almost got the perfect switchback. Murphy's going to try to cut it off because he, I think, just wants this straight dogfight with D'Ortenzio. Doesn't worry about position.
Yeah, he's still comfortable at the moment, is Cindy, to be fair, on these medium tyres. Happy to, consider a little bit of a strategy call to the end of this race, trying to make the soft mediums work an absolute treat. But he's the only person at the moment without a wet tyre on, but he's still relatively holding station at the moment. So we're still firmly in that crossover period here, as it looks like to me. Oh my goodness me! I have never seen that before, but that to me is no longer having fun, if I'm perfectly honest with you here, Joseph. Joe Murphy sending it down that inside. That's definitely a little bit of a brake check as well. Come on, folks. This is certainly not what we want to see in a charity event. As it goes side, oh my goodness me, I don't like what I'm seeing here. Goes for the late breaker. Big lock-up happening between the pair of them here, and I hope that there's going to be some conversations with the administrators about the behaviour of some of the drivers here. They're getting a little bit ratty as we're getting later into the day, as we've got Maxter doesn't really know how angry at the moment Angelo D'Ortenzio is. Oh my goodness me, I don't like what I'm seeing, and that is pretty horrible. I think it's inevitable. There's going to be a big smash up at some point.
Yes, I think so. But, well, I mean, rubbing to some drivers, or to some people, is racing. And, well, we will see what will happen. I feel bad for the poor drivers in all this, and I also feel bad for Angelo D'Ortenzio's teammate. There goes Angelo, and that's going to be the end of that between himself and Joe Murphy. But I feel bad for also FZR Newt, who's caught up in all of this. Joe Murphy wanting to come back. He might get a great switch back on the 2 Tridents, and he might get both of them in the space of 1 corner. Running wide is Solar Cindy, so he drops down behind those 2 drivers. But the action does continue. Newt off.
Yeah, Newtoff getting into a collision with Maxter in that one as well. I can't believe what I'm seeing, but the dry tyre runner at the moment is now still in P5 at the moment. It's a class little bit of driving here from Cindy at the moment, if I'm honest with you. Almost heroic if it weren't for that time penalty here, as we're just keeping an eye on what's happening here. I think that Joe Murphy, D'Ortenzio war has now concluded, if I'm honest with you, and I'll just say thank God for that one, if I'm honest with you, because it's not particularly nice to see what we saw here as well. And just keeping an eye out on Melwin and this one, as Newt has just got the overtake done on Cindy, starting to really struggle now on these medium tyres with 2 laps to go for the Trident man. He's got Angelo D'Ortenzio just tucked in behind actually here. Might be a late break around the outside. He's got major front wing damage actually, has the MP, so he goes for the late breaker, but you can see the car just about turning in fairness, but he gets the move done. Cindy now down to P7.
Yes, down to P7 indeed, and well, now down to P8 with Maxter going through, Jeremy going through as well, so a couple of positions gain, and it's certainly looking like the wet compound tyre stints have begun. And, well, it will continue this way. Maxter just outside of the DRS of D'Ortenzio. I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to make his way in back to the end of the race, but he will still hold on to that position because Angelo D'Ortenzio has that 10-second time penalty, as does Aaron Gibbo up the top, which means that FST Kieran Humphreys is looking like he's going to take the victory, and we'll see whether he's the Monaco Merchant later on at about 3 in the morning.
Yeah, 2:30, I believe it is, isn't it, for the Monaco race, and that one should be a bit mental as well because all the rules are going to be switched off, and it's going to be heavy rain, and it's going to be dark, so it'll be interesting to see how they manage that one. Melwin, getting a real tank slapper over the curb there for P3 at the moment. His teammate down in P4 and 8 seconds back. Monaco Merchant is about 2.5 seconds back from Aaron Gibbo at the moment as well. But situation in terms of penalties, with that 10-second penalty for Aaron Gibbo, that race win that would have been on the cards is now going to be falling away pretty aggressively. But he might just about stay on the podium as it stands. With all of that battling happening with Joe Murphy and Angelo D'Ortenzio earlier, he's still got a chance of still finishing P3 at the moment, so just needs to keep it nice and cool, nice and easy, and at least he'll convert this race into a podium.
Yes, he certainly will, and that'll be a good drive from himself in the end, which would be very impressive after everything that's happened. It's the penultimate lap of the race, and Aaron Gibbo is going to try and build up that gap. No chance that he's going to have that, but he might be able to hold on to P3, the gap between himself and Joe Murphy at the moment is 12.5 seconds. So Joe Murphy needs to gain 2.5 seconds in the next 2 laps to be able to catch up to our race leader and everybody else following through as well. Newt, 6 seconds worth of penalties, Angelo D'Ortenzio 13, and Maxter with 3. So I think in the end it's going to be in the order that Newt is going to be just behind Maxter, unless Maxter loses a significant amount of time. Angelo D'Ortenzio will be behind both of them, but will be behind Jeremy as well for 8th place, and I think Jeremy might even make his way past Newt and Maxter as well, as speaking of Newton is going to be past the A-team, but a slide out of the first corner allows the A-team to be slightly alongside, but in the end the AF1 man stays ahead.
Yeah, critically for Jeremy, though, excuse me, the man hasn't got any time penalties to his name, so he can keep within touching distance of the likes of Maxter, Ortenzio, and maybe Newt. He has got a good chance, actually, of finishing into the top 5 at the moment, does this man in the Amory Cordials Rodin Motorsport Formula 2 car. They head their way around, then, the next selection of corners, hoping that this will turn into a top 5 finish here for Jeremy at the moment, as he continues on that pressure against the back of Maxter. So situation report at the moment, and Gibbo 2.9 seconds. He's doing a good job to maintain the gap, but with that 10-second penalty looking less and less likely that this is going to be a conversion of a race win, but he's almost certainly got the gap. In fact, he's got more than enough of a gap against Joe Murphy to hold on to P3 overall on this, our final race, final lap of this race here, as they head their way through the last lap here. It's been a bit of a race where there's definitely going to be a lot of learnings to be had. Whether or not you think that this is solid racing, whether it's aggressive racing or not, it certainly shows that despite the fact that this is a charity event, the drivers are going to go all out to try and maximise the points that they want to get for this little championship that we've set up here at CSS, as we start to see people start to donate again. We're now over £1,600 as well. Thank you to every single one of you who has donated as well. If you haven't donated yet, that little QR code in the top right hand side of your screen, get your phone out, pop it on the camera app, give it a scan, and donate if you can, as we just keep an eye on the Monaco Merchant losing the rear ever so slightly through here as well. It's looking like it's going to be clear cut here and all in fair one. Melwin's going to do the best that he can to put the Monaco Merchant under pressure to take the race victory here, but regardless, it looks like he's going to keep it nice and cool and nice and easy, as we've got our commentating driver into the top 10 as he's managed to make the overtake up on Cindy. Fair play to Corey Brooks, which is turning out to be another classy result for the commentators team. But in the end here, it's been one of those races, hasn't it, that a lot of questions to be asked and a lot of questions to be answered, but nonetheless, Aaron Gibbo will be happy that he at least takes the race victory here. But with the 10-second penalty applied, the Monaco Merchant will take the top step here for fastest stay true. Melwin finishing in second place. Aaron Gibbo will finish in P3 overall as we go on board with Joe Murphy. He's 14 and a bit seconds back, so he'll finish in the end in P4 as he comes across the line with, guess who, Angelo D'Ortenzio in this one. Newt finishes in P5, with Jeremy managing to climb up to P5 thanks for all those penalties applied. Did mention that one. Fair play to the Rodin Motorsport driver. Here's Max Ring as well. Le Hotel just, I think, having a bit of fun now at the end of this one here as they just navigate around the circuit here. Bit of drifting potentially happening. Corey Brooks trying to get into the top 9, but with the time penalties to be applied, it won't happen, so he'll be happy with a P10 if he holds on to it, is the question though. The A team is down there as well. Fair play to Cindy, by the way. They did take those tyres all the way to the end. In the end, Temex losing all of those positions. Cindy finishing in P12 overall. The A team finishing in 13th with Justy in 14th. Temex finishing in 15th place. There's Mango Slayer finishing in 16th place. Piney Penguin still navigating around the third sector at the moment, down in P17, close to Gamer down in 18th. Of course, Nick and Rob were lapped cars. They have now finished their race. It's all about the Monaco Merchant though. He wins here tonight in Hungary.
Certainly does, and that's going to be good points heading home for FST, who will pick up what will be their first victory of the day, and in fact their first podium of the day as well. Melvin will come home in second place, yet to find out what team he's part of, and then Aaron Gibbo in third place as well. So I will just do my research and get back to you, and I can show you how quick my research can be. If I search for their names in the server, I'll be able to find it. So Melvin is going to take that second place home for what looks like it's going to be AERT. So that's going to be a very good performance for themselves. And the third place is going to be Aaron Gibbo, who looks like he's got it for either WOEM or JSR, because he's driving for both of those teams today. And because Robbie was racing, I'm going to go with the fact that he did that for WOEM. So a very good performance from them. And is that going to be 3 debut podiums? WOEM, no, they've got one before. They got one at Austria. They've got another one here today.
Yeah, really, really good stuff indeed for them. Then in the end, though, Monaco Merchant happy with the race victory here. Melwin P2, Gibbo in P3 from Joe Murphy, Jeremy, and then Newt. You've got Max D'Ortenzio finishing in 8th from Max Ring, and Corey Brooks rounding out the top 10. Great effort for the community commentators team. And then you've got Trent Newton, you've got Cindy, the A team, Justy, Temex, Slayer, Penguin, and then Gamer, Nick, and Rob round off what is a non-DNF race, but the bottom two, of course, were lapped cars. Right, that is the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Plenty to learn from that one, I think, Joseph. You're claiming perhaps just a little bit of fun between a couple of the drivers. It looked like towards the end when they were racing side by side, it was a little bit of fun maybe between the pair of them, but particularly aggressive goes to show, might be a charity event, but there's still racers in their hearts, right?
Oh yeah, racing at the end of the day, and no reports have been created just yet. So rubbing has ended up being racing.
Certainly has indeed. So we are about 10 minutes away from our next race then in Saudi Arabia. You're taking a little bit of a break. In fact, I think that's you done for your commentary streak, isn't it, for the race weekend?
It is unfortunate. I'm working tomorrow morning, so I won't be able to join. And I was busy this evening, so I wasn't able to join for much other than this. But you'll be able to watch me be bad at 10 past midnight when we head to Zandvoort, and then once again at 10 past 7 when we head to Qatar. Yeah, should be an absolute cracker as well. Good luck on circuit later on, Joseph. It's been a pleasure to have you in the comms box. I'll be with Max in just a few short moments' time for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix round 9 of this 20-round season. That is our 24 hours of Formula 1 and now Formula 2 for this charity event in support of Macmillan Cancer Support. Remember,
click that or scan that QR code up in the top right hand side. If you haven't donated already, let's try and get us up to our target. £2,000 is our first target. We're stretching that goal out a little bit more, and plenty of opportunities to embarrass the commentators more. Might be some singing events, I don't know. We'll see anyway. We'll be back in a few short moments for Jeddah. Don't go away.
of me, I'm Byron Hill. I used to be one of the many, many, many lovely owners of Competitive Speed Series, and I just wanted to congratulate the team on what they are doing. It is absolutely phenomenal. I might be at work, I tried to get the time off. I really wanted to be there and join you guys for an absolutely phenomenal evening. By the looks of it, you've already raised 1,500. That's an amazing effort. It's about 10 o'clock in the evening right now. Keep donating, keep showing your love, keep giving them all the support. They're going to need it as they push through those early hours, just like I am. I'm finishing at 3 a.m. in the morning this evening. So I'll be joining you. I'll be popping in the live chat when I can. But for now, it's time to grab a bit of scran, get a bit of food in me. But absolutely phenomenal. Ace, the entire team, you're all doing a phenomenal job putting on an absolutely amazing evening. Just wanted to give you a little welcome to those of you who are new as well. Phenomenal to see so many of you joining for the very first time, getting involved, donating as well. If you can't donate, just give us your love and attention, love and support. It is great to see so many of you in here. But from me, much love. I'm really sorry I can't be there, but I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll be popping into the chat when and where I can. But for now, enjoy it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Byron. He was laid on this side for a minute there, but there we are. We'll get it back up and running. Thank you very much for that one, Byron, and thank you to every single one of you who's tuning in here for our final round of this evening session here at the Competitive Speed Series event here for the 24 Hours of Macmillan Cancer Support. We are wrapping it up here at Where Else But Jeddah for our final round of this evening session before we go into our nighttime sessions starting from 10 past midnight. We're just getting that lobby finalised and set up here between all of us here at round number 9, as I said, at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It is myself, James Otter. I'm alongside Rio Harris once again, my old buddy from the Belgium Grand Prix last time out. What a cracker of a race that was, all the way back right at the start of round number 1 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Feels like an age ago now, here at what is now 25 to 11 at night, Rio. A lot of racing has happened since then. A lot of things, a lot of learnings have been happening. But one thing is for certain, the racing has been fun, and the money we've earned for this charity has been absolutely astronomical.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's been the controversy, like we've seen an example being Austria, between the likes of Luca Rapassa and Will Gibson, but obviously it's been a lot of phenomenal racing which we've seen throughout the course of the event. Street circuits, normal circuits, there was always been action that has been guaranteed. Obviously there's been some surprise results, which obviously the chaos that has ensured, obviously the teams have been rising up through the field to ensure that they can get some decent results. But one thing is for certain, especially in Jeddah, obviously it's forced cockpit camera, so obviously those walls are going to feel even closer than they are, even when in comparison to when it's on the normal TV pod. But one thing for certain, even though it's a cockpit camera, racing will not be denied, and we will surely be in front of a spectacle under the lights in the Jeddah Corniche circuit.
Yeah, we certainly will be as well. Quick reminder of what we've raced here tonight then on Saturday. So we raced over in Belgium. You and I, Rio, did that race as commentators. It was a cracking race it was at Belgium as well. Really action-packed event. Then we took a trip to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, Mexico, Singapore, Australia, Austria, Abu Dhabi, Hungary and Saudi Arabia. Big highlights for this one. We said, didn't we, right at the start, Belgium, Austria, probably Australia, maybe potentially Abu Dhabi, but the races that were the highlights, Belgium certainly won. Austria was absolutely fantastic. That one was with, I think it was Gareth and Patrick for that one. But really, really intense races for this first bout of racing here at CSS.
Yeah, about that action aplenty here, and I'm sure all the viewers who are watching here without a shadow of a doubt have enjoyed it too, because there has been constant multiple action wherever you look, through the mid-pack, through the front of the field, through the rear of the field. There's always action guaranteed, and we have still got plenty of tracks to go. Obviously, like you said, this is our final race of the evening stint before we head to the AM races, which will, without a shadow of a doubt, they will surely be providing more racing. I believe the first morning race is Zandvoort, if I might be correct.
Yeah, of course, heading through into the Sunday's calendar. The Sunday is bringing, of course, the first of what is some intense racing. At 10 past midnight, we are at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. Circuit to the Americas at 20 past 1, half past 2. The Monaco Grand Prix, that is going to be mental, I'm going to tell you. So stay awake for that one, because that is going to be fun. Las Vegas, Japan, Azerbaijan, Qatar, Brazil, Spain, Italy, and the United Kingdom Great Britain and Northern Ireland wrapping it up at 10 to midday. If you haven't donated already, there's your QR code up in the top right hand side. If you can scan, you can certainly potentially do us a favour of donating if you can. So we are heading into our main race at Saudi Arabia in just a few short moments time. All the drivers very keen to get going for this one here. Saudi Arabia, not much room for error here, is there, Rio?
Yeah, one of the highlighted corners is turn number 4, obviously before the enter of the twist and the turns of Sector 1, arguably the most satisfying sector in Formula 1 to get correct. Obviously in Jeddah you have to be on the limit because of just the nature of the circuit, where you have to be twisting and turning right up against the walls, but then obviously there's the deadly curbs through the S section, which if you get beached on it, you will be careering right off the track. Obviously track limits as well is another major thing here, and with cockpit camera there are sometimes the chances that you misjudge the gap between your front left or front right tyre and the wall. One thing's for certain, I reckon we will see at least 1 or 2 cars captured by the turn 4 wall.
Yeah, certainly as well. And predisposed apology for myself and Rio on this one here. There's 27 corners at this circuit, and all the corners come at you at a rate of knots. So if we get a corner 1 or 2 wrong, sorry, we'll do our best to get it right, though. CSS then bringing you all of this 24 hours of Formula 1 and a bit of Formula 2 action, of course, as well at the Hungarian Grand Prix in support of Macmillan Canton support. A quick reminder again, that QR code will take you directly to our giving page here, so please do us a favour, scan and donate if you can. The drivers are getting themselves ready for what will be no doubt a very intense race ahead of us here, Rio. Then what are the expectations then going into the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? The drivers are going to be a little bit on the tired side, so they have got to adapt pretty quickly and try not make any mistakes in this 1 shot and 25 lap race.
Exactly. Obviously, they have to ensure that they are close to the walls. If you're not close to the walls, you're going to give up so much lap time. But obviously, ensure you're on the track. That's stating the obvious there, because you do not want time penalties. We saw it's hampered many drivers' positions. I think an example was Austria, where Luca Rapassa won the race on the track, but then it was handed to the Aston Martin. I forgot who won the race, but it was an Aston Martin that had picked up the win. It might have been Vodsta, actually, who won that race in particular. But one thing's for certain, racing will be expected here. They will be a bit tired, like you've mentioned, but I'm sure some drivers have potentially just woken up from a little nap. Obviously, we're seeing some drivers race for the first time today, some drivers who have done multiple races, so the expectations will all still remain the same. Once again, the 1-shot qualifying here in this format, which we do use Jeddah Corniche circuit. Normally you would like a couple laps to get it right. You only get 1 hurrah at it here in qualifying today. The question that I've got for you, though, who do you reckon will get pole?
Ian Godendorp's probably going to be up there, isn't he? I mean, there's a man who's just on a mission at the moment within the general esports sphere, so wouldn't expect anything less of potentially pole position from him. But it is a difficult circuit, and of course, with the 1-shot qualifying, you could end up finding yourself in a bit of a sticky situation relatively quickly. Rio, you've raced here probably more than I have done, so why don't we go with a random driver, and let's hear your take of the Jeddah Corniche circuit here in Saudi Arabia for what will be no doubt a very interesting race ahead of us. Let's get a qualifier on board. Shall we follow? Ooh, let's follow Ollie Hornby for this one, shall we?
Right, in towards turn number 1, we do go with the Williams driver, just to make sure you're on the limit, to ensure that you can find the limit out of the car, making our way down towards turn number 4. This is where you can see drivers potentially clatter the wall through turn 4, then turn 5. The twist of the turns was the Arabic opening sector of the racetrack. Through the left, then through the right, and then another right up car, and that curb there on the left hand side is where you can beach it as we approach the end of the opening sector of the lap. It's currently, as expected, Kundop currently ahead of the field. Morgan in second, Trixie up in third, Numicorn in fourth, and then Botti is in P5 as we go on the exit of the sweeping left-hander, and then make our way towards one of the trickiest complexes on the circuit through the chicane. As to clap in the wall there was the Red Bull, as actually Ollie Hornby now makes his way down in towards the turn 22, 23 and 24 complex. The next braking zone upcoming. The DRS is enabled. Make sure you've got the battery to deploy it as we make our way in towards turn 22. Straight away, flat away. Oh my word, into the wall goes Ollie Hornby, and that will be qualifying done and dusted. They'll be starting P19 on the grid. Kian Gundop, though, without a shadow of doubt, is miles away. SCI Finley has retired from the session as we go around the final corner, and now along with Ollie Hornby, who will be starting this event in P20. But towards the line we go with Kian Gundop. Gundok. One thing is for certain, the Aston Martin will be on pole. It's a 26.3. It's 7 tenths ahead of the rest of the field. Morgan in P2, Trixie in third, then it's Adam in fourth. I had a Numicorn in fifth, Botti in sixth, and I believe that was Yarrow in seventh. But without a doubt, something like we expected, it is King Gundok on pole position.
Oh, Rio, that was 2 in a row. I went on board with someone, and I had Joseph Black with me going a lap around the previous race, and he actually crashed out as well. So it is serious commentator's curse at the moment. Sorry, Ollie. Situation then is Kian Godin up though on pole by 7 tenths of a second. That's to be expected in this one. Morgan looking pretty strong here from Trixie, from Adam, and then you've got Noom there. You've got Botti, Yarrow, Joker, Robbo, and then Walker rounding out the top 10. Down at the back, you've got Temix, Jose, you've got Jammy, you've got Sharp, Janik, you've got Mexico, you've got Lansdale, Tsunami, Finley, and Ollie Hornby down at the back of the field. Ahead of this now is the main race ahead of us here, and a few people once again making a few mistakes. This is a circuit you can kind of overtake at, but very easy to make some real big mistakes, and the walls are so close. You'll be out of the race in a flash if you make a mistake around here.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, Jeddah is arguably the most punishing circuit on the calendar. 27 corners around here. There are some corners that could be classed as non-corners, just some slight turns of the wheel. But nonetheless, the stats will not lie of the 27 corners. The strategy will be interesting today. I'm looking at the race director, and already King Gundop already opting for the hard compound tyres. The only driver on the field, sorry, make that out Ollie Hornby as well, who has gone for the hard tyres. So at the minute, it is now P1 and P20 on the hards. Now it is only Ollie on the hards. Now Alex Lansdale is on the hards. King Gundop has reverted back to the medium compound tyre. One thing's for certain, a strategy will be taken in place. It's just a question of how many laps do you do on the medium tyre, because we know medium can wear out fast here in Jeddah, but honestly at the same time, you don't really need a lot of management around here, which may surprise some people due to all the high speed corners, but the tyres don't really die that much.
In this scenario here, let's keep an eye out and see what the drivers have got ahead of us here around here, the Jeddah Corniche circuit, bringing us our final round of the evening events of the 24 hours. No more waiting. Let's go racing then here in Saudi Arabia. Kian Godinov getting a really good start in there. We've got a few people also struggling a little bit around here. A bit of ghosting also happening on the field here. Looks like we've got a few people maybe experiencing some desync issues here, wondering if we're going to get any call from the stewards for a restart. We'll keep an eye on that one. Diving the inside. Wow, there's a move from Yarrow. I did expect that people were going to be going through there, but it looks like the person got off there quite easily as a result of that one. Don't know if there's going to be any restart from that one, but that looked like desync.
Yeah, right, so that you always expect chaos here in Jeddah Corniche. There's a couple cars caught up in it there, Jammy, Dodge, and Yarrow being arguably the two worst losers in all of that. But now to make our way down towards the swing left-hander, Joseph has now actually pulled ahead of Bar Tsunami as we head in towards the far chicane. King Gundop leads the Grand Prix by 9 tenths of a second as we plummet down the straight, down towards turn 22, already 1 second of an advantage as we go down the straight. DRS will be enabled on this next lap. Trixie staying within DRS of Morgan, who has just and Trixie has broken the DRS gap to Numicon, who has got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars all the way down to P12. Janik at the rear of that train, further behind Alex Lansdale, getting close to the rear of the Halber, as they make their way down the back straight, down in towards turn 27 to kick Sauber. Has got front wing damage. You can see the right end plate is missing as they make our way down towards turn 27. Alex Lansdale getting the position and goes defensive into the final corner. And then the back of the rear goes to Williams, Ollie Hornby, who has got right end plate damage. Oh, into the wall goes the Aston Martin. And that could be as a virtual safety car. And it is a virtual safety car as we see 2 cars pit into pit lane. And Ollie Hornby has just hit the rear of the Sauber on the pit entry. But one thing for certain, chaotic start, but King Gundop, unsurprisingly, leads the way.
Yeah, Lansdale trying to get the car rotated, but he doesn't want to end up potentially disqualifying himself for driving in the wrong direction. Gets it back in the right direction and into the pit lane. He will go as quickly as he possibly can here. 4 drivers have decided to make that pit stop, as you rightfully call out there, Rio, so they're going to be diving now into the pit lane. Will Alex Lansdale and hopefully get everything changed here. Plenty of front wings being replaced here. They've got Mexico TV himself and Ollie Hornby just leaving the pit lane. I tell you what, that is a real breach of the pit pit lane exit there from Ollie Hornby, but it's a charity event. We'll gloss over that one. 10-second penalty for Yarrow for exceeding track limits. And curious that one can exceed track limits under the virtual safety car, but nonetheless, that 10-second penalty for Yarrow there, I think that might be related to potentially the pit entry or exit. DRS enabled, and we go green again here in Jeddah.
Yeah, Yarrow's picked up front wing damage under the virtual safety car. The bar tsunami, by the way, is on the inside as Trixie flying by, and we've got some wheel-to-wheel action down towards turn 22. How risky do you want to go? 5 cars split by a couple of meters here. Off the circuit goes the McLaren to make our way down towards turn 27. Morgan will pick up the DRS, and it will be enabled as they make their way down towards turn 27. On the inside line, Trixie with the fender. Yellow flags behind for the Racing Bulls of Janik, who has gone off the circuit. Maybe 3 runs to the final corner. Botti looking for the move. Deep goes Morgan, trying to get that slingshot exit as we plummet down the main straight, snapping to the inside line, chopping in front of the McLaren. We head down the main straight. This should be a plain sailing move for Morgan, but further behind, can Botti make the move on Trixie, whose rear light is flashing, wheel to wheel in towards turn 1. They will go side by side. McLaren v Mercedes, side by side through turn 2. They get on the exit at turn 3. Trixie hits the wall, and major front wing damage there. Now rounding outside goes Numicorn and Adam as well, looking for the move as well. Icky Robbo as well, getting close as well. But as we head towards the sector, that was a chaotic restart.
Yeah, chaotic restart those from the midfield, trying to get onto that podium if they can help it here. Yannick also now in the pit lane. Ollie Hornby promoted up to P15 as a result here. Here you got Icky down trying to get a little bit of inroads done on the former TF10 team man of Adam here, diving down that inside line of turn number 13. Very well crafted from Adam on this one here to get it up there as well. We've lost Icky. He's in the wall. He got on the power too early. He's reset on circuit, but he has lost that considerably and put a little bit of debris on the exit of the corner. Should not anticipate any kind of safety car requirement on that one, but very disappointing stuff to say the least, as Lansdale has crashed out and he has brought out, I think, another virtual safety car out on circuit as a result of Lansdale's DNF here. Looks like he's lost it going through the first couple of corners in the first sector. Just trying to figure that out. 1, 2. I think that might be turn 5, turn 6 he's lost it. So it might be like where Mick Schumacher had his crash.
So he's on the wall on the left-hand side, but the front right tyre's gone. So maybe he's hit the inside wall of turn 5, and it's just completely ripped off the front right suspension. And then obviously into turn 6, he's obviously collided with the wall again. But it was already out of the race, as Yarrow now has crashed out as well, it seems, under the virtual safety car through the chicane. That will bring out the full... It's the full safety car now.
Yep, full safety car, I think, out on circuit to them. I'm just trying to find the yellow dot, and I think... Is it there? Yeah, there it is. The safety car is out, but it's been left out a little bit later. So as a result, the safety car will let all of the cars go by. So then, of course, Kian Godendorp can pick up the safety car on the next lap. There it will park up then, just going through turn number 4. So situation report then. Kian Godendorp managed to show that he's got the pace to pull out a serious gap over everyone else. And then 2 virtual safety cars and a full safety car later, he's going to have Morgan all over the back of him again.
Yeah, about that. I'm looking at the race director here. Maybe do you reckon the Bar 29 might be doing the rainbow chance? They've got mediums, inters, and softs already as the Racing Bulls driver. But yeah, like I'll reiterate what you said, Kian Godendorp showing why he's making his way up the esports ranks, just already blitzed away from the field. He will have to do it again on the safety car restart, which will be probably towards the end of maybe lap 6 or lap 7, depending on how long it takes for Tsunami to catch up, who is on the soft compound tyres. We'll continue on. Maybe we'll go back onto a set of the mediums or the hard compound tyres. But the problem that Haas have now encountered, Morgan and Numicorn, they are very close on the circuit. They will have to double stack. So maybe Numicorn might try and back up the pack a little bit. He will probably lose position to Adam in the Alpine, but should hopefully hold position on Joker as we make our way down towards turn 27 here. Obviously, the top 6 all get to pit, but surely you'd expect them to come into pit lane at the end of this lap for a set of at least the hard compound tyres.
Right, lap 4 of 25. Got to be honest with you, Rio, this has felt like a little bit more than 4 laps here because everyone has obviously had to slow down considerably due to virtual safety cars and safety cars. Kian Godendorp is coming into the pit lane to get off of the medium tyres that he has started on here as well, as will Morgan and other people, but Adam has decided to stay out. Situation in terms of the tyres then, here they are. Medium tyre runners have all elected to get off of the mediums onto a hard tyre. TF10 Adam says, well, I haven't used my medium tyre, so I might as well burn through this Pirelli rubber, and he'll now lead the way. Question on my lips, however, how hard is he going to defend from Kian Godendorp?
I would expect him to. I mean, if you're going for this alternate staying out strategy as a XD Walker, how close are they on the pit exit? They will be side by side. Was the Haas driver on the exit of the corner? Did Numicon get ahead of the Scarlet Ferrari? Well, yes, they did. But to answer your question, if you're going for this strategy to stay out, just hand track position, because they've only gained 4 or 5 places from staying out, you surely got to just try and hold your lead, hold as many positions as you can. It could ensure some carnage here, but only, like you said, only 4 laps done. They haven't really got the chance to use this medium compound tyre here in Jeddah. And like I said earlier, but just before qualifying, the medium tyre doesn't really wear as quick as other circuits, example being like the British Grand Prix or the Austrian Grand Prix in the Red Bull Ring or the Silverstone circuit. Obviously, the medium tyres are a lot more liable here in Jeddah.
Yeah, lap 5 of 25. We're a fifth of our way through this race here at Saudi Arabia, proving to be a little bit of a challenge for some of the drivers here now as we start to encroach on what is now, I'm doing my maths on this one here, we're 1 hour, about 9.5 hours now into this streaming marathon. That is the CSS 24 Hours of Formula 1. And Formula 2 in brackets, for what has been a very interesting set of events ahead of us, with a grid that is so mismatched and mixed matched, and also because of the various incidents that have occurred across the board, it's becoming a little bit of a mixed match in the standings as well. We'll get a bit of an update on that one no doubt in a few, and we'll give you that update ahead of our mid stream break. Of course, we've got a 40-minute break straight after this one before we get into our first race of our nighttime races at the Netherlands. As it stands, though, it will be TF10's Adam that will then lead the way when the safety car comes in, what we think will be at the end of the next lap. Adam, opportunity here for Rio potentially to put a little bit of pressure on the likes of Kean Godendorp. He hasn't really used those medium tyres. The question, though, is how quickly will the hards come on?
I reckon, depending on when we know King Goodall knows all the esports tricks, we know he's an absolute sensational driver compared to in his own standards. So he will know all the tyre warming tricks. I reckon his hard tyres compared to the rest of the field will come into play a lot quicker than expected. I do reckon TF10 Adam will struggle on those medium compound tyres, but they won't. He won't have that warm up issue compared to the hard tyres. He might actually be somewhat faster in comparison to the likes of Morgan, Botti, Joker, Numicon, E-Walker, and Pierre Sharp. That is your top 8. As TF10 Adam will hopefully get some tyre temp, and we should hopefully go racing end of this lap like I expected, the Bar Tsunami as well, into pit lane for a set of what is now the hard compound tyres here in Jeddah. They should, I mean, I say this, hopefully drivers may consider going to the end, because we know Jeddah is full of safety cars, and something I did completely forget, these drivers are in cockpit camera as well, so they will have to use their mirrors, which you don't say as often in sim racing. They will have to use their mirrors to ensure that they are able to see where the other car is, and also they will have the proximity arrows as well. But I'm sure there will be some action on this restart. Might be at the end of this lap. Normally gets called in on the rundown towards turn 27. Depends how quickly Tsunami in the Racing Bulls can catch up. We've got 2 retirees so far, FZR's Alex Lansdale and then JSR's Yaro in the Red Bull. I'm still curious to see what happened to Yaro, because his retiree was under the virtual safety car, which we had a couple of laps ago. But safety car, will you be called in this lap? It will be a late one if it is to be called in. Bird Mylander leading us around the Jeddah Corniche circuit through turn 25 and 26 towards the braking zone at turn 27. It seems to me, James, that the safety car will be continue on for another lap.
Yeah, Tsunami probably left it very late, but the safety car coming in at the end of this lap, he didn't leave it late enough by the looks of things to get to the back of the queue, and we will be getting going with the racing once again in just a moment's time here. So TF10's Adam will lead the way on these medium tyres. Now they'll be very quick to switch on, but will he catch the esports driver Kean Godendorp? He has a little bit, to be fair, as they go across the start finishing line. We go green again here in Saudi Arabia, so TF10 Adam will want to use the medium tyres the best of his ability, but what will Kean Godendorp do to be able to close down the gap very easily? As we've got a little bit of battle happening between Joker and Numi in this one. We've got Walker getting in the mix. We've got 3 wide action happening here. SCI's Finlay getting into the mix here in the McLarens as he gets the move done on Temex, no issue. Want to keep it nice and cool, nice and easy, folks, as people try and navigate around the circuit without any challenge. You saw something a little bit earlier on though, Rio?
Yeah, just contacting into the opening corner between, I think it was Finley and Temex and the McLaren and the Alpine respectively, as further behind Trixie, making the move here in Jeddah, got past Temex, who is actually now wheel-to-wheel with the other Scarlet Ferrari of Jamie Dodge as they can run wheel-to-wheel through the sweeping left-hander as they apply the power. Temex losing left another place, and through goes Jamie Dodge in the Scarlet Ferrari. Out in front though, TF10 Adam is holding his lead slightly, but surely Keen Doomdop, it's a matter of time for the Aston Martin to get through 0.2 of a second, sorry, 0.3 of a second now, as they make their way down towards turn 22. The rear light of TF10 Adam flashing. King Gundop keeping their battery well in check, 94% in comparison to Adam's 50% as they make their way down the back straight, down towards turn 27. Surely a change of lead sure to happen in a matter of moments. Morgan's being able to stick to the rear of Gundop at the minute, side by side for P16, and then side by side as well for P8. Around the outside goes the Papaya McLaren of Finley. Wheel to wheel was XDE Walker, but as we go down the main straight, the McLaren gets the move on the outside. King Gundop is gaining in the slipstream in towards the opening corner of the racetrack, having a faint look to the inside, but nothing doing this occasion. Further behind though, E Walker once again will tuck up, and then Joseph going wheel to wheel with Ollie Hornby side by side between Red Bull and Williams, and then with the inside for Ollie Hornby on those medium compound tyres, making the move and applying the throttle on the exit of turn 2, flat 3-3 towards the turn 4, where a lot of drivers will get caught out as we head through the S's and the S section. The twist and turns into sector 1 for the 8th time in this Grand Prix. It is still TF10 Adam that leads, but surely it's a matter of time when that DRS kicks in.
Also keeping a very firm eye on Ollie Hornby at the moment as well. He's the hero who's elected to move over to a medium tyre, whilst everyone else has decided to move over to a hard. So Ollie Hornby flying through the grid at the moment here as he's going side by side through 13. Very well crafted between him and Temex, and gets the move done up to P12. Now is the commentator's hero as he heads his way through the next selection of corners, gets on the back of the Ferrari, will get a little bit DRS, but he is using a lot of his electrical power to find himself under a little bit of trouble, as it looks like King Dundub has got that move done now on TF10 Adam here as he tries to now keep up as much as he can. He will have the DRS available to him, but will he go for the move on Kia Godendorp, or will he look for P1, or is he just going to defend from the likes of Morgan, I wonder, going into turn 27 as he chucks the car through the left-hander, just not quite able to get that front end that he's looking for, nor the rear end. If anything, he's lost a bucket of time to Morgan here, so this is all going to be about defence rather than attack, I would suspect, here as Morgan tries to get as close as he can to the back of the Alpine Renault, but the tyre's just not able to get into there, and that is the difference between an aged medium and a new hard.
Contact between the front wing and the rear wing of the Alpine and the Haas, and that is front wing damage for the Haas of Morgan, who's currently running in the podium position. But how much time will that cost them? Further behind though, side by side towards turn number 4, Robbo and Tsunami did run, but now that gap out in front already 1.3 seconds. We head through the S's. Look how close Botty is able to stick due to the front wing damage as we make our way down towards the end of the opening sector, down towards, I believe, turn 13. We sling it in through the left hand. Only Hornby's out of the race, and it's another safety car.
It's an absolutely horrible incident. It's exactly like what happened with Mick Schumacher. He's absolutely pile-drived it into the wall, and that is in very similar circumstances, we think, to what happened with Alex Lansdale. Safety car out as a result, and the fortunate hero for the commentators team is now going to be scoring nil point for the team that has been earning some big points, to be fair, in the standings, rising up to P11 in the standings so far. Will now be scoring nothing for this event. If you are interested, by the way, we have had a little bit of an update to the standings here, so I'm just going to give you a quick readout of what we're seeing so far whilst we're under this safety car. So F1 Server are currently top of the standings at the moment, and they are leading the way on 272 points at the moment. Then you've got FZR, then you've got Fromage, and then you've got AERT. So as expected, the McLarens and the Aston Martins are the teams that are sort of really fighting their way forward here. Fastest Stay True are doing a really good job up in P5 at the moment, but they're tucked in a very close battle, 3 points difference between them and Le Hotel at the moment at the standings. Other little races that have racing's sort of teams that we're seeing that are in close proximity alongside of ST. AERT are only 10 points in front, 3 points the difference between AERT and Fromage, by the way. Really good stuff at the moment. And then down towards the back, there's only 2 points at the moment between WOEM and POR at the moment, down in P13 and 14th respectively. And then my team, the team I'll always support, the Sheffield Wednesday affiliated Owls Esports, down in P15 at the moment on 74. Plenty of other races to happen though. That table could look like something completely different when I wake up tomorrow morning.
About close battles throughout the whole championship order. What I was paying attention to on the current event we're in, TF10 Adam, despite obviously going the longest on the mediums, is only P10. Only lost, I mean, I say only lost 8 positions around Jeddah, but he is now the leader of the pit stop brigade, or the second pit stop brigades here. The top 9 have all stayed out on their respective hard compound tires. The Bartunami up into 8th, Robbo up into 9th, and King Gundop continues to lead the way ahead of AERT Abotti in the McLaren, and the Numicorn up into the podium places, PS Sharp in 4th, and then XD E-Walker for the Creator team, currently in P5, running very well for the Scarlet Ferrari.
Yeah, really, really good stuff at the moment. So 15 laps to go in this one. It's feel a little bit longer, this race, hasn't it? We've had 2 safety cars, 2 virtual safety cars. It's been a little bit of a chaotic event here, and that is to be expected. The drivers are tired, and they've also been forced into cockpit. So this doesn't surprise me at the moment here, that we're in a little bit of a slower race here. But it will no doubt be frustrating the likes of this man, Kian Godendorp, because he put 7/10 between him and the rest of the field in qualifying, and the most he's been away from them is about 2.5 seconds. So it goes to show, doesn't it, that you've got all that pace there, but if everyone else around is crashing and the safety car keeps coming out, you just can't pull the gap that you want.
Yeah, without a doubt, and there's always the chance that with these multiple safety car restarts, there's a chance that Kian doesn't get the optimal restart, and that opens the door for AERT Botti, excuse me, or Numicorn in the Haas to make maybe a cheeky send on the inside at turn 1. One thing is for certain, we will go racing at the end of this lap. All 17 remaining cars have caught up to the safety car, and it is the top 9 who are on the oldest set of hard compound tyres. Then from P10 below of the remaining runners, all boxed for new hard compound tyres, apart from Janik, who might have actually gone back to one of their old hard compound tyres. Yeah, if you look at the race director, it says he's been on 3 sets of hards, but I can only imagine that it has been he's only got 2 sets of hards, so I can assure you it's only 2 sets of hards. They've just gone back to one of their used old sets, and unfortunately then they've already done 4 laps with it, but it could be under safety car conditions.
So we're on the another safety car at the moment. The drivers are just navigating their way around the circuit, and a little bit of an update as well. I've just had a comment come in from Ace actually within the Discord within the last 20 minutes just to confirm SCI Finley, that's the man in P12 at the moment, it's actually Brandon Clark. So that'll be the reason why I was expecting a Brandon Clark at some point, but he's obviously using Finley's account. So that's the reason why we have SCI Finley in there as Shazoo Cedar Igniter within the esports scene, taking part alongside AERT. And what's the other team as well over at McLaren? It's F1 Server, of course. So that is the sort of situation for him then. So you know, safety cars should surely be coming in at the end of this lap here. The drivers will no doubt want a little bit more in terms of racing to be happening here, Rio, because obviously there'll be a sense of frustration amongst the drivers that they're at a very slow pace here. So are people going to start, you know, being a little bit more careful as the safety car's coming in, or do you think that the drivers are going to go flat out?
I mean, I would expect the drivers who have come into the box from P10 below, they'll probably be a bit more aggressive, wanting to make use of their fresh rubber here. But the drivers who are in the top 9 will want to be careful to ensure they make it to the end of this race. Obviously, 6 laps done, but the majority of those laps have probably been under safety car conditions. One thing is for certain, though, King Gundop will continue to lead us down the main straight, or unless Botti can get a good restart very close to the rear, and King Gundop instantly putting the foot to the floor as soon as Botti had to lift off, and that is a sensational restart from the Aston Martin. Make our way down towards the opening corner of the racetrack on lap 12 here, and Temix is looking close to the rear of XD Walker as we make our way down towards turn number 1. They will all say line astern. I believe the whole field actually will say line astern as we hit the brakes for the first time on this second safety car. Restart King Gundop leads as this is a carnage behind of the circle when Jamie George, and then a little bit of a moment from Morgan making our way down to turn 4. Oh my word, a major snap for the Haas, and that allows Jamie George and Janik through in the Ferrari and the Racing Bulls as we go through the twists and the turns of the opening sector here. King Gundop, that lead only half a second. The top 2 have already pulled away from Numicorn and the Haas.
Yeah, just keeping a firm eye on Walker as well. He keeps getting rear instability, a bit of rear lockup a couple of times on this restarting lap for the man in P5 at the moment. So he'll be just putting that one in check, maybe moving the brake bias a little bit further forward as we've got some serious racing happening between TF10s. Adam, of course, remember someone who decided to not pit under the first safety car but pitted under the second, now down to P10 as he's racing with the likes of Joker. That's the Owls esports driver for this particular event. Finley also all all over the back as well. Finley being Brandon Clark for this event, remember. He now heads his way throughout the left-hander as he now heads his way down the long complex of corners that leads to turn 27. But as it stands so far, that excellent restart working an absolute treat for Kian Godinor, but not looking a bit of a treat for Temex, who's relegated to P7 as Joseph takes P6 out of his hands.
Morgan dropped down into P15 side by side between Finley and Trixie in the Mercedes. A little bit of wall hooking there, and into pit lane comes the McLaren, who's actually picked up some front wing damage here. And further ahead for the podium places, Pierre got very close to the rear of Numicon in the Haas as we go through the opening corner of the racetrack. They all stay line of stern, keeping it a bit more civil on this occasion. King Gundorf has just got that 1 second gap to AERT Botti in the McLaren racing for F1 server, like you mentioned. Icky Robbo becomes our first driver of the day to pick up a 3-second time penalty for track limits, who has got Adam all over their ear. Adam actually dropped down into P11 behind Joker. Adam was the leader of this on the second pit stop brigade, and it got past Joker like you commentated over, and is now hunting down the rear of the Mercedes. And then the Sauber is the next driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That gap out in front though up to 1.5, and then Numicon behind Botti. That gap between the pair of them now 3 seconds, who has got Pierre Sharp and XD Ewalker right on their gearbox. Joseph now trying to work their way back into DRS as well, who will have Temix on their rear. DRS enabled for the Alpine as well as the Ferrari and the Sauber ahead of that little pair as we go through turn 22, then through 23 and turn 24. Surely a plain sailing move, roaring completely round the outside, and through goes Pierre in the kick Sauber into third place in this race. XDE Walker will be too far back. Further behind though, the Bar Tsunami getting close to the rear of Temex, thinking of a dive on the inside. Further behind, Robbo running wheel to wheel with TF10 Adam running outside. Goes Adam, and then the Mercedes will try and duel as we plummet down the main straight, making our way down towards turn number 1. The Tsunami will roll on by. We could see 3 wide in towards turn number 1. The 2 Alpines as well as the Mercedes run wheel to wheel through turn number 1. They go 3 wide. Deep goes Adam, and then maybe going for the up and under goes Icky Robbo to get through on Adam. Maybe into towards turn number 4. They will remain side by side in turn 4, and round goes the Mercedes of Robbo, and you don't really see many moves there in turn number 4, and that's the answer when you try to risk it.
Yeah, disappointing stuff there between the drivers who were just trying to sort of go side by side, but unfortunately 2 does not go through there as we've seen something happening with a bunch of people here. Looks like Morgan's lost a few positions. Temex trying to race with the likes of his team members, relegated to P9, battling with Adam. Maybe a little bit of a switch of positions between the 2 Alpines. Who knows? Lap 14 of 25. We've got 8 and a bit laps to go before our mid-session break, of course, and then we'll head into our next race next time out at the Netherlands Grand Prix. The Dutch Grand Prix should be an absolute blinder. That's at 10 past midnight. AERT's Botti now heading his way around here. He's got 2.5 second gap between him and here as we've got Pierre Sharp in the wall. Ooh. It's a pretty awful incident. It looks like he's lost it going through turn number 22, 23 by the looks of things, if my math works that out on right. Either way, critical mistake from the man who was up in P4. He's got no front wing on the right hand side. In fact, it's got a little bit, but not much that can be really make note of here. Disappointing from that man who is now down at the back of the field and will now need to make a pit stop.
Yeah, unfortunate there for the Kicksauer who was running in the podium places. Trixie getting through as well. The Ferrari as well of Jamie George going on the inside, hitting the rear of the Mercedes, but luckily for the Scarlet Ferrari, no damage. Now trying the old switcheroo as further ahead the Bar Tsunami and Adam running wheel to wheel in towards turn 4. The Bar Tsunami chopping that one off as deep goes Adam. Thought he got hit in the rear there by the car, but the car behind was nowhere near, so just plain sailing understeer. Pierre Sharp onto a set of the soft tyres. Questionable decision as we head through the twists and turns of Sector 1, and it is going to be King Gunnar still leading from Botti, then Numicon, who is being slightly catched by the content creator driver of XD Ewalker. No bottles as of yet from Ewalker, which he is known for through his chat, but on this occasion he is keeping it plain sailing. The Bar Tsunami slow closing down Joseph, then Adam as well on the freshest tyres of the top 8, or the top 9 I should say, along with Trixie and Jamie Dodge. It's surely a matter of time for Adam at least goes wheel to wheel with Tsunami.
Yeah, Pierre Sharp electing to pick the tyre that is here for a good time, not a long time. At the moment here, using the soft tyre compound on the down at the back, though in 17th place for him at the moment. King Godendorp now putting a 3-second gap between him and Botti. It's the largest gap he's been able to find between him and the second place man all the way through this race event. It shouldn't be of any surprise at all that Godendorp has got all of this pace ahead of him, as well as he starts the 16th lap and 9 laps to go in this race. I'm just keeping an eye to see where all the battles are, and it seems to be pretty much all in the midfield. Having a look at the moment at Adam, as he's in a bit of a DRS train between Tsunami and Joseph, and behind him Mad Max and of course Jammy Dodge himself. A little bit of a late break and move here from Tsunami. I'll be honest with you, it looks a little bit half-hearted, wants to try and get the switch back on the Red Bull, but no move on this occasion. Still got some intense racing happening here as well. Max and Adam getting into their own little scrap as they head through into turn number 3, and no moves to be had here. This little DRS train that's starting to form is just holding station, but nothing too aggressively, except for Icky at the moment, who is absolutely pile driving the corners at the moment. It's another 3-second time penalty for him.
Yeah, suboptimal, some would say, for the silver arrow of Icky Robbo. The gap I've been watching between as the Alpine looks for a little lunge on the inside at turn number 13 on Bard Tsunami, but maybe trying to scare him, but it might have actually worked on Bard Tsunami deep on the exit of 30. We head through 14 towards the chicane of turn number 15 and 16, or maybe 17 and 18. I'm not too sure on the particular corner numbers as we get on the exit of the chicane. Bard Tsunami almost losing DRS to Joseph, who has done 12 laps already on that hard compound tyre. Adam, his hard tyres will come into major benefit soon, considering the offset that he has been building up. As we head through turn 22, very tentative in terms of how close he was to the wall. We now plummet down the straight, down towards turn 27. Just the unfortunate thing for Adam, not a lot of battery in store. In fact, no battery really for Joseph, Tsunami or Adam as we head in towards turn 27. He's thinking of a lunge down on the inside. Side by side they will run, but then around the outside by Tsunami will go as Will hook in there on the exit of the corner, and then they plummet down the main straight. Almost nil battery for either of them, actually no battery for either of them. So this is now just straight set up top speed as we go in towards turn number 1. The Alpine and the Racing Bulls run wheel to wheel, and the Alpine gets the move done, but the Bard Tsunami is going to keep it on the inside, and now Trixie might think of a move around the outside, but TF10 Adam gets the move up into 6th place and can now surely hunt down Joseph.
And Mad Max Trixie trying his best to get to the back of there. Wow, well saved actually over that curb. Lost the rear, bottomed out over the curb, and could have been a horrible accident straight into that corner, but managed to just hold on here. And Jammy Dodger's a bit thinking he's a bit jammy at the moment, to be honest with you, after that one. Pierre Sharp getting the fastest lap of this race. No surprises on those soft tyres at the moment, but will they go the distance is the question on my lips. As it stands though, Keane Golden Up Gap now 5 seconds at the front of the field here, keeping an eye out. Behind him though is the critical one here. Nearest battle on circuits continues to be that little battle at the moment for P5 in the standings between Joseph, Adam, Tsunami, Trixie and Jammy Dodge. That's 5th all the way down to 9th.
Oh, Ewalker's got half a front wing. I've just gone onto the Ferrari. He's missing a lot of his front wing here, and now instantly under pressure. I'm so curious to see what's happening to Ewalker. A bottle's happened out of absolutely nowhere for the Scarlet Ferrari. No battery remaining. They're now going to run wheel to wheel as Robbo picks up yet another penalty. We could see 3 wide down towards turn 27. Through goes the Red Bull, and Adam will now look around the outside as well of the Ferrari. A little bit of a rear lock there. Good save from the Alpine, and now we put foot to the floor and we go down the main straight. Will Ewalker peel into pit lane? No, they won't. They will continue on, but Adam has got that slight bit more battery. They both now have 0% as we go in towards turn number 1. TF10 Adam gets through as well. Adam up into 5th, Joseph up into 4th, and the podium is very close for TF10 Adam. The fresher tyre seem to be working a treat with him as we make our way down towards turn number 4. Once again, I'm very curious to see how much Bard Tsunami is going to catch up to XD Ewalker here through turn 5, then through turn 6, and then turn 7, then through turn 8. The S section, the twist and the turns, very hard to get wrong as Ewalker. Look how much understeer he's got. We go on the exit of the twist and the turns, and they're going to instantly run wheel to wheel down in towards turn number 13. Ewalker trying to fight this, but it was the lack of the front wing as down on the inside goes Trixie. It was a lovely dive bomb move deep on the corner. Goes Bard Tsunami, and now the Mercedes and the Racing Bull will run wheel to wheel, almost tyre hooking there. But as we make our way down towards the next chicane, side by side almost between the 2 Scarlet Ferraris, but they also line astern through the next chicane. Brilliant racing.
Ooh, a little bit of a lost rear end, I think, from Mad Max at the moment, who's starting to feel the age of those hard tyres coming to play here. Look at Ewalker flying here. The lack of a front wing on the the right hand side is showing no issue at all for the Ferrari man at the moment. He has lost a bit of time, but as it stands so far, with that move done on Jammy Dodge with the fresher tyre, allows that Ferrari man to put some pressure maybe on the likes of Mad Max and maybe even Bard Tsunami. Lap 19 of 25 will become 20 of 25 on the next rotation. As it stands though, so far, King Golden Up gap now increasing to 6.5 seconds as we've got Jammy getting into the mix here, trying to go side by side with the Bard Tsunami. A little bit of a tyre hit between the pair of them, and it looks like Tsunami's managed to just hold on to the position, but Mad Max has pulled the gap as a result.
Yeah, Trixie trying to make the move there. Well, I say trying to make the move, he has made the move. The Bar Tsunami. Ewalker, I'm really impressed with the Ferrari, how he's actually been able to keep up somewhat with these cars, as you can just see the understeer kicking in for the Scarlet Ferrari. Tiefton Adam, by the way, is within 1 second of the Haas in the fight for the podium position. Joseph tried to play some DRS games to make the move into turn 1, but just the battery was that much higher for Adam. He was able to ensure he would keep the place. XD Ewalker's now lost DRS to his in-game teammate of Jamie Dodge, who is really close to the rear of Bar Tsunami, who is 1.6 seconds behind Trixie, who is currently absolutely flying right now, and surely Trixie will be staring at least a top 5 finish as side by side Joker and Ewalker were running, and Joker gets through on XD Ewalker and up into 9th place goes the Williams, down into 10th goes the Ferraris. Now make our way down towards turn 27. A move is surely soon to happen for the Alpine, as further behind Jamie Dodge and Bar Tsunami run wheel to wheel momentarily, and the Ferrari does get through as we head on the braking on the exit of turn number 27. We plummet down the main straight as we are on now lap number 20. 6 full racing laps remaining here as Adam is gaining and gaining and gaining in the slipstream. It won't even be a contest by the time they hit the brakes in towards turn number 1. The Alpine is through. A little bit of a lock-up, but the Alpine nonetheless into the podium places.
Not gonna lie, I want a little dose of whatever was poured on Jamie Dodge's cornflakes this morning, because he's flying at the moment on those hard tyres, absolutely finding every overtake that he wants, and he's just completing it like the cars aren't simply there. Really good racing so far from that Ferrari man as he tries to chase down Mad Max and of course defend from the Bard Tsunami. King Golden Up gap now 7 seconds between him and Botti, with 4 and a bit laps to go in this race. Indications here suggesting that at the moment King Golden Up should be on for a bit of a classy victory, but who is going to be in that midfield getting the bigger points at the moment is very much anybody's guess.
About that, I was just watching on board with King Golden Up, just looking at his tyres, and tyres seem in quite good condition. If anything, the rears look a little bit worse than the fronts, as Robbo, by the way, has got quite pitted for the soft tyres and is in this little free-car battle with Temex and Pierre Sharp in the Sauber. Assessing momentarily, they do run wheel-to-wheel, and Icky Robbo does get the position as well, as further up the field, Morgan and XD Walker run wheel-to-wheel, but now can XD Walker maybe try and make the move with that highly damaged front wing? He's going to be losing so much time. Janek will probably get a chance to try and make the move on him if he can pull the second due to if he can pull the gap due to his penalty or not. That will be another question to be answered. Numicon is still within DRS here of Tiefton Adam, is actually able to save a bit more battery than the Alpine, as further behind Joseph and Trixie run wheel to wheel, and maybe can now Trixie try and get the position. XD Ewalker's picked up a track limit penalty down the main straight. I am very good to see how he's done that. As back to what I was saying, Trixie could now maybe be staring at a top 4 finish here, just due to the offset that they've both built.
I think it might be the reason why he's received that penalty is because of the pit lane entry. Of course, it's on that inside line, isn't it? And there's a big gap between the pit wall, obviously, and of course the pit lane entry. So I'm wondering if he's just breached over slightly too much. You see people going very close to the pit lane entry without actually going in to maximise lap time, and it might just be that driver unfortunately just breached that line over the pit lane entry. That's a bit of a disappointing thing for them at the moment. Lap 21 of 25. We've lost another one by the looks of things, and it's one of the Ferraris, and Ewalker has gone for another walk straight into the wall once again here with that really damaged front wing. Surely indications now for Walker is simply put, get into the pits, let's get that new front wing on, and let's just try and go for fastest laps.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's just got to do that. He's going to lose so much more time. He will probably not even finish in the top 14 here, as Finley and the McLaren dicing and turning across the circuit. But now, in further up in the field, Jamie Dodge making his way down the main straight will just completely fly by Joseph, who has done now 18 laps on the hard compound tyres, the oldest out of anyone on the field, along with Ewalker, and who I'll presume will come into the pit lane. Further behind, Joker is running wheel to wheel with the Bar Tsunami in towards the opening corner. We go. The Williams barging his way, elbows out past the Bar Tsunami in the Racing Bulls, and the Owls Esports team making their way up into 8th. A phenomenal result from so far.
Yeah, really good result for P8 for the Owls Esports team. If they continue on their way at the moment here with what's turning out to be a really good race at the moment for Joker. Clearly, Saudi Arabia, one of his stronger kind of outfits here. Lap 22 of 25, 3 to go in this race here, and all answers on a postcard about who is going to be where they are when it comes to the midfield. I think it's pretty self-certain who's won this race unless they make an uncharacteristic mistake. But with Botty 7 and a bit seconds behind, Adam that's 6 and a bit seconds behind, going to be fairly critical for that midfield to keep as close as they can to the top, considering how competitive it is at the moment on our final round of this evening session before going to our night sessions.
Exactly, this race has been quite the entertaining one, as have all the races so far in this CSS 24-hour event for the Macmillan Cancer Charity. To make our way down in towards turn 27 once again with this battle for P4. Trixie will be right on the rear of the Haas as we apply the throttle. TF10 Adam slightly gaining on the McLaren ahead, but I do not think it will be enough unless there is a puncture for the McLaren. We'll make our way down the main straight down towards turn number 1. Trixie will go to the inside line. The Haas will not try to fight this one. What about Jammy Dodge? Will they be close enough? No, they will not. As we apply the brakes, they all stay line astern as they arrive into turn 2. Further behind Walker and Temex going wheel to wheel momentarily, but it's just a plain sailing and roaring on by with the DRS. Trixie can now maybe try and reset after TF10 Adam, but as it stands at the moment, I do think it will be P4 maximum for the Mercedes driver. Jamie George might be able to get P5 as well ahead of the Haas. We seem to be struggling. Yellow flags are out, and it seems to be, it might be Morgan or someone. Might have been Morgan or Bar Tsunami. I think I didn't exactly see who it was. Might have been Joseph as well, but it was a very brief yellow flag, so nothing race ending as they make our way towards turn 13. Me personally watching from Morgan, they all say line astern between the top 10 now.
Yeah, situation there. I think one was more so was Morgan, and I think Morgan has now got front wing damage as a result of that collision. I think that brief yellow flag was just a warning about flying debris on the circuit. Lap 23 of 25, 1 and a bit laps to go in this race, and I tell you what, it has been one of those races that's been a bit more of a slower burner but sets the precedent running. And as it stands so far, once again, Aston Martin and the McLaren teams are looking very strong for this 24 hours event here, with Kian Godendorp and Bottle in the top 2. But the Alpines are hot on the heels, as are the Ferraris and the Mercedes. So keep an eye out on their performance as we get into the night shift to determine which one of these drivers has got the most consistency when they're out of coffee, out of energy drinks, and out of any kind of energy whatsoever when they're racing at, let's say, I don't know, Monaco in the full wet with all the rules off at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, what could go wrong now? I am very excited for that one. And Icky Robbo, who is racking up the penalties, still able to make these overtakes here, as Finley is really close to the rear as Robbo pulled back to the racing line. Numicom as well is doing well to stay close to the rear of Trixie. The Bar Tsunami picks up a 3-second penalty. That yellow flag, which was brought out last off, I can confirm it was the Bar Tsunami actually, who had a 1.4 second slower opening sector. So it must have been the moment from maybe turns 5, 6, 7, or 8, somewhere around that section where there was the yellow flag. That was out. But one thing is for certain, Keen Gundorp's lost maybe half a second here on this occasion. Just trying to maybe ensure that the tyres do make it to the end. Those tyres are looking absolutely horrible for the Aston Martin as he's approaching turn 27 for the penultimate time.
Yes, he'll be approaching the final corner, as you said, for the penultimate time to wrap up what has been a pretty more comprehensive victory for the Aston Martin team, of course.
Oh, no.
And it comes in there, you've seen something.
Numicom just completely spun the car through turn 22. I don't know if there was contact in the rear, but the Haas car the rear just completely letting go, showing that those tyres have completely had it here. And that's just showing the major risk the likes of Kian and Botti are going to have to deal with here on this final lap. Kian will take it very carefully, I am sure, just to ensure that they do not get this puncture. We're on the final lap of this race. That's allowed Jamie Dodge to easily get up into P5. I don't think there's any damage on that Ferrari. Numicom will continue on. I don't think it was a punch. I just think it was just plain tyres letting go as a wide off the circuit when Joseph there running wheel to wheel with Joker, who's now up into P4 for the Owls Esports. See Joseph on 21 lap old hardcore tyres. That'll be 22 when they cross the line, as Joseph tyres are completely sliding all over the shop here. That just shows how much they have done on this hardcore tyres just to try and at least stretch it to the end. Keen Gundor was giving up another second of lap time here in comparison to the McLaren of Botty here. I mean, King Gilbert's just trying to ensure that these tyres do simply make it to the end as we approach the final sector here, making our way through turn 19, through turn 20, then through the sliking of 21. XCE Walker, new fastest lap of this race, 29.3. We go through turn 22 for the final time, then through 23, then through 24. When you saw the schedule, when you saw the list of the drivers who are going to be participating in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, there is a yellow flag out, and I think it might be Joseph who's got a rear left puncture, I believe. Joseph has got a rear left puncture, but our attention will go back to the field. And King Gundop, you saw him on the schedule. You saw it can be racing. You thought who was going to win it. King Gundop will win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix by 5.7 seconds ahead of Botty in the McLaren. Delighted with a second place. Then it'll be TF10 Adam with a lovely strategy, going for that second pit stop in the second safety car, taking the podium. Then it will be Trixie in P4. Jamie Dodge will come home in P5, and then just behind him by 9/10 of a second, Joker for Owls Esports taking P6. A phenomenal result. And then it will be maybe a drag race to the line further behind between Numicorn and Bartunami, and Numicorn just got it in the end. There might have been a penalty for Bartunami, which there was, but if you remove that penalty, the gap was 2 milliseconds. Then it'll be Janik in P10 ahead of Robbo, who will drop down into P12. Joseph has actually retired from the race on the run down towards turn 27, and there's a Red Bull just struck in the middle of the track. Holy.
Very, very close indeed here as well from that little incident there. Joseph tried to get the car home after getting that puncture. It's disappointing stuff, to say the least. I think it's Sean Moist that is in the chat here as well with WAWAW. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? We certainly are. What a result for the Owls Esports team to finish into the top 6. But what a race result it is for Kian Godendorp. And welcome to the front of the field, my friend, here in this 24-hour race of what is being a really, really tumultuous time at, to say the least, here tonight, because King Godendorp at the front row. But once again, those McLarens are still hugging at the moment down at the back, turning out to be a really nice, fierce competition at the moment between Team Aston Martin and Team McLaren.
Yeah, without a doubt. And do you think it was ever in doubt when you saw King Gundorp's name be entered into the list for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? Was it ever in doubt he was going to win? The Flying Dutchman, you could call him, flies home to take the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The champagne being sprayed on my end, but the race results being displayed on your screen now. The driver of the day given to Jamie Dodge, who started down in 13th, covers up to 5th. A lovely drive here. Bartunami also notably starting down in P18, finishing up in 9th. But one thing of a sudden, your podium sitters is the Dutch driver of King Gundorp, and then it's the Hungarian of Botty. TF10 Adam in the French outfit of Alpine rounds off your podium. Trixie getting 4th, Jamie Dodge in 5th, Joker 6th for Owls Esports. A phenomenal result for them. Morgan 7th, Nubicorn in 8th, Haas finishing 7th and 8th, and then it's Racing Bulls of Barcelona and Janik 9th and 10th, Finlay in the McLaren in 11th, Temex in 12th, Robbo 13th, Pierre 14th, XCE Walker for the content team in 15th, Mike Zo P16, and then you 4 DNFs, Joseph, Ollie Hornby, Yarrow and Alex Lansdale. But that was a phenomenal race, safe to say.
Yeah, certainly was indeed, and what a phenomenal 9 races that was. We have concluded our afternoon and our evening races. We now head over into the nighttime races in just a short while. A break will now be starting for the next 40 minutes. We'll be taking a good trip over to Zandvoort in 40 minutes time at 10 past midnight for our race here. That will be in the trusted hands, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of Corey and Joseph D'Ambrosio for that one. But I think we need a little bit of a well-earned break from this one. I've been on a lot of races for this first stint as well. I will be back with you guys then at 9:30 in the morning for the final 3 rounds in Spain, Monza and Silverstone. You're taking only a very brief break, having a little bit of a nap, I would imagine, Rio, because you're back at 2:30 for the Monaco Grand Prix, aren't you, with TK?
Well, I could say now I will not be going to sleep because I actually somehow have energy. I'll be back early for that. I'll be racing at 1:20 in the morning for the United States Grand Prix down
of course you are,
in Texas, in the Lone Star State. That should be fun. But yeah, indeed, I am back in the commentary box for Monaco. I do have my whole list as well. I think I've got, I believe, 5 more, maybe 4 or 5 more races to commentate. I think it is Monaco, Qatar, Baku, and then I believe I might be joining you in Monza for
Yes.
commentary.
Yep, you certainly are. I think you're with me for Monza. I'm with Gareth for Spain, and then I'm wrapping it all up in Silverstone with Ace, I believe, to wrap it all up here. So I think what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a breather, relax, and I might just make sure everything's all set up and ready, of course, for the race at Zandvoort before I head to bed, because it's been a long old day indeed. That has been absolutely fabulous. Of course, please, if you haven't already, click that little QR code, scan it, and then if you can, donate any bit of money you can for the Macmillan Cancer Support Charity. We're over £1,600 now into this. We are well above where we need to be for this part of this race, but part of this race weekend rather, but we still want to hit 2,000 and go above if we can help it. Plenty of other forfeits that the commentators might need to do as well, so keep a tabs on that one. But for now, we're going to then just pull our feet up for a little bit, take a breather, get some water, and just relax a little bit. Rio's back in the car a little bit later. I'll be back with you guys at 9:30. But thank you very much to every single one of you tuning in for our Saturday race weekend. We will now head over to Sunday, and we will see you over in the Netherlands in just over 40 minutes' time. Take care. Ta-ra.